For letting everybody in. Hi everyone, welcome to WealthTech Committee meeting for June. Great to see some familiar faces here, but also I'm conscious we may have some new joiners, so welcome. WealthTech Committee, we're one of 8 committees of the FinTech Association, and as our name suggests, we explore latest trends and developments in wealth management and tech. My name's Julie Chan and I co-chair this committee with Neil Tan. We've actually been on a bit of a roll, previous events on digital asset space, but actually today we're going to be focused on NFTs. So I'm going to hand over to Neil to introduce the panel, the topic, and also our panelists. And we will have, feel free obviously to post questions in the chat. There'll be time for us to take some of the questions from the audience. And we've also got an exciting surprise at the end, but I won't steal Neil's thunder. Over to you, Neil.
It's all good. Thanks a lot, Julie. So yeah, this is a really exciting time. I think a lot of us have been looking at a lot of NFTs, Metaverse, and those different things. But I think Julie and I have been kind of brainstorming inside of the context of how beyond sort of the typical applications and use cases that we see for NFTs, and how do we view different business models, right? So I think we were looking at different platforms, and we brought together basically a great lineup, I think. We've got Ian from Bank of Asia, or BOAX NFT Marketplace, which is a private banking institution that also has its own NFT marketplace. We also have Nick Chan, who's from Refinable, one of the local Hong Kong NFT marketplaces, 3 million NFTs on platform. And we also have Oscar Chan, who's a co-founder inside of Maxima, which is a horse fractional ownership for racing horses. So what we'll do is go through an initial introduction, and feel free to ask any questions. You can drop those questions inside of the chat, and we'll go through those towards the end of the panel. But let's do a bit of introductions first. If maybe we can start off with Ian. If you can start off with a quick introduction. Yeah.
I'm Ian. I'm founder of BOAX. We're a Metaverse art tech company that provides NFT platform for artists, collectors, and high net worth investors. So because this art and NFTs market is so huge, we talk about 1.2 trillion US. So we're trying to democratize this by building a new ecosystem with industry stakeholders across Asia. And we form part of the ecosystem, like Neil said, with Bank of Asia, which is a BVI licensed digital assets friendly bank. And what's more, we try to be a bridge between traditional corporates like the likes of ATV, RC. They're going into Metaverse right now, they're our client, and Hon, which is Asia Weekly. These more traditional, as you would think, these corporates, we're trying to bring them to Metaverse and for a new chapter in crypto space. So we, in short, we provide sort of a end-to-end platform that provides NFT technical support, a marketplace, and talking about payment and settlement backed by Bank of Asia. And we have some interesting partners, which I'll talk about a little bit later. And also, lastly, we have some Metaverse galleries that our team are able to make for these corporates.
Cool. Thanks a lot, Ian. How about Nick?
Yeah, sure. All right, hey everyone, my name's Nick. I'm one of the co-founders for Refinable. So at Refinable, we really aim to facilitate Web3 commerce. So I think very similar to also Oscar and also Ian, that we began as an NFT marketplace. But I think after launching, we definitely soon realized that there's a huge technical gap that existed for many brands and entrepreneurs looking to go into Web3. So I think since then, we've actually started developing more of our B2B toolkit for really to help our partners, such as individuals and different brands, really onboard onto Web3 in terms of their different Web3 initiatives, mostly still within digital asset trading. So we don't actually go into the Metaverse side, but we actually are looking to be more of a B2B2C support for a lot of these brands looking to go into Web3. So that, in short, is what Refinable is about.
Cool, thanks. Oscar, if you can do a quick intro.
Yeah, sure. Hey everyone, I'm Oscar, one of the co-founders at Maxima. So Maxima is an early stage startup that we use blockchain technology to facilitate the split of horse ownership in forms of NFTs to get access from different people who want to own a horse. We had this idea because horse is a very illiquid asset. You basically either own a horse or you don't own a horse. It's very hard to actually own a horse as well because of, for example, geographical barriers or also financial barriers, and it's basically quite expensive to own a horse. So this limits the opportunities for people to participate in the horse industries. So what we are trying to do is actually use the NFT technology to recognize the ownership around the world who uses blockchain and split the fractional shares of horse into, for example, 1,000 shares. And then we distribute it out, and those who are interested to buy shares of the horse using the NFTs could have the rights to, for example, to influence the decision making on management of the horse, choosing which competition to participate in, or choosing the trainers, jockeys, etc., etc. And currently, we are building our prototype as well as the marketplace for the exchange.
Awesome, great. So yeah, so we talked about business models. I mean, if we kind of look at it at the top, we look at problem statements, what sort of issues that you're seeing inside of the client base or the customer base, and then what are the products and propositions that you're looking at solving, right? Maybe we can start off with Ian, and it's kind of interesting in that sense of the end-to-end solution that you're looking at. Can you share a little bit more about that?
Sure. Basically, BOAX will handle all the technical tasks from the creation of NFT. Say ATV came to us. We found all these interesting IPs, and then we create these NFTs. We list them on BOAX. We do auction, and we also have with our partners off-ramping capabilities. So when you deal with NFTs, with cryptos, and the question ultimately is how do you off-ramp? And with our partners, we have that capability. And for ultra high or high net worth investors and collectors, we try to identify these high storage value and high growth digital and physical arts, in particular physical arts that fit for NFTs. So like Zheng Daiqin was a very famous Chinese artist. We have these private collectors coming to us with all these private collections wanting to be NFT'd. So we do that. And we also, because we are a curated platform, so that's very different from most other bigger platforms. And we started the whole thing really to serve our high net worth clients from our partner Bank of Asia in the BVI. Then we realized, like Nick was saying, how there's a gap in Web3, and we wanted to fill that gap by having a Metaverse gallery that our team created to put all these art in there. I'll have a chance to show it later to everybody. And our clients are also quite interesting. We have TV stations, we have magazines, we have the Fashion Design Association, where we created this Metaverse for them, and Prince Nari of Cambodia. So one of our first clients is this prince who came to us, a personal friend of mine and business partner, and he wanted to do NFT last year in July, and we did this Olympics happiness NFT together with quite a famous international artist called Dominic Lam. We did it, and ultimately we sold this to Cambodia. So there's always a joke in Cambodia. Prince Nari is the first person in Cambodia to buy the NFT through us. So he's the expert in that region. And we also have some Fengshui art, which I'm pretty sure it's not common in other platforms. It's also one of my passions as well. So we're bringing this quite a unique traditional Chinese spin to these NFTs. So I think that sort of sums it up, what we're currently doing right now.
Oh, great. Nick, how about yourself? I mean, as far as the business model or sort of like the problem statement that you guys are looking at, and how are you guys approaching this NFT marketplace space?
Yeah, so I think when we first began, we really had one problem statement to tackle, which is really just high gas fees. I think when we first started around a little over a year ago, then all the trading was really centralized on Ethereum and gas cost was really high. So we actually gave an alternative strategy for people to trade NFTs and digital assets by offering trading on different chains such as Polygon, BNB chain, and also Ethereum if they like. So we've actually like started with a multi-chain strategy back then, but I think when we first started, it was really much more of a general marketplace where anyone can come in and trade, as well as create different NFTs. So we started off as a more alternative solution to really allow anyone in the Web3 space to kind of go in and trade as well as create their items. But like I mentioned, I think there's a technical gap for a lot of people that want to go into Web3. I think everyone has certain aspirations when it comes to Web3, especially with different collections and communities that they want to create. And sometimes like there's only a handful of Solidity or Rust developers out there for everyone to kind of utilize. And so that's why we kind of slowly made an adjustment to really create more B2B tools, leveraging everything we kind of made onto the decentralized marketplace for ourselves. So with the B2B tools, we're basically looking to create more something similar to a Shopify for NFTs, which allows anyone to have marketplace as a service or have express checkout, very similar to Stripe payments, to really enable people to have a lot more easier time onboarding people into Web3. So we do see onboarding as one of the biggest problem statements that we do want to tackle, especially for different creators. So if you actually look at the general funnel for how I guess NFTs are actually created, there's a lot of kind of focus onto the trading aspect, but we like to kind of go from trading all the way up to ideation and the planning process and the creation and sort of capturing your liquidity via marketplaces. So with this entire aspect, sort of this upstream model or this problem statement that we want to create for users, that's sort of what we want our creator suite and our B2B toolkit to really target. So that's sort of it's sort of like preparing for the future. I do think with this bear market that there's definitely some kind of shock to the supply. I'm sure we all kind of feel it. But I think for people that really do understand the benefits of digital assets and NFTs and what it kind of brings to the digital ecosystem, that I do think this is kind of preparing for the future so that more creators in the next couple of months can kind of explore the space and just kind of have the tools ready for them to succeed.
Cool, great, thanks. And Oscar, I kind of get an idea of your business model and how it's, what sort of problem. I know that you're trying to transport a horse, right? I mean, that's a pretty big problem statement to have. But maybe you can share a little bit about what sort of problem you're trying to solve, and also what sort of solution set that you're looking through, and also what challenges you're feeling. So.
Yeah, cool. So for Maxima, it's a really interesting project, I would say, because we are trying to bridge the gap between digital asset and physical asset, which is, I would say at the current situation, it is still quite challenging to actually bridge both of them. And the idea actually came from two of our co-founders who actually had horse ownership experience. The problem is that in the horse industry, it is very hard to, for example, you have a horse in a horse farm. For horse farms in Australia or in the United Kingdom, most horse farms have to educate the horse until 3 years old until they get sold. So they basically have to take all the risks in order to educate the horses through breeding and management and providing insurance, etc., until 3 years old, where the horses get the chances to participate in some pre-race, or what we call is a kind of a training race, where they can see how good the horse is. So what we are actually thinking is also from our partner, one of our partners, which is our horse farm owners in Australia, is that for horse farm owners, they want to diverse the risk. They don't want to take all the risks in order to breed different horses, because when they breed all the horses, some might succeed and some might not. And to NFT owners, there is obvious a very huge barrier for people who would like to try to own a horse. As I said, physical barrier and also financial barrier, etc. So what we are trying to do is to establish a platform, which is actually in Web2 space. There is syndication platform that takes place in Australia, in United States. But the problem is that it is very limited to their own stables or the horse farms. So only one horse farm provide their shares of their horse farms. So there isn't a platform that connects all the horse farms around the world or a big regions for people who can have a large selection of different horses. And so we saw the opportunity over there. So what we're trying to do is, and we thought of okay, so using NFT technology would definitely be a good idea because apparently using NFT, you can see the ownership and the transaction is much clearer than it is in the traditional industry where as you look at different horse purchase website, it is very hard to track their transaction record, the pedigree, or the management, for example. So we are trying to tackle that, and we are trying to build the ecosystem that allows the smooth transaction between potential horse buyers and also the horse farms owners. And yeah, basically this is what we're trying to solve. And talking about the physical ownership. So for example, if I own 10% of the horse ownership, I can only virtually meet a horse. I can't like as Neil said, I can't transport the horse to Hong Kong, and then yeah, this is still an issue. But what we are trying to do is trying to create at least a virtual experience for the horse owners. For example, what we are now trying to do is to set up some 360 cameras and also using AR technology put in the horse farms. And those NFT owners, besides having shares or says in the horse management, they are also entitled to have a virtual experience of what the horse is actually doing. So we are working on this right now, and we believe it will be very exciting experience for horse owners. And in the future, of course, we would like to have, like we want to build a Metaverse or a game that we are also in collaboration with different virtual horse racing games right now to build a Metaverse, which, for example, because horse are like living organism, what if they get injured or they are not entitled to competitions? What we saw, how we solve this is actually putting the statistics to create a virtual horse that could be living in the Metaverse. So those NFTs owners can still have the experience of virtual horse owning experience. So from here, we are trying to bridge the physical ownership and virtual ownership together. And of course, there are many challenges, but I guess I talk a lot. Maybe I can like share more later.
Cool, great. I mean, I know that if we look at sort of the regulatory compliance space and so forth, each one of the platforms has different challenges, right? I mean, I guess, Oscar, how would you kind of look at this, fractional ownership space? I mean, do you have a sort of like any feedback from, your legal counsel as far as how that's being treated and so on and so forth? So.
Yeah. So we had this idea, and then most importantly is for us the biggest challenge, I would say, is actually the jurisdiction, because it is tied to physical asset, and it can be treated as a financial instrument, kind of like securities, because you have profit and loss within your standardized asset because it is fractionalized. So we talked with different we had different legal consultation, and currently we just got a report from Liechtenstein, and I think the solution to this is to have NFTs together with the securities token, which is kind of common in the European region already. So we believe that starting our business in the Europe side would be easier than other side, because regulations related to NFTs or related to NFTs and securities are still they still have to catch up in different areas around the world. So this would be our challenges, but I can see a lot of cases around the world, use case that we believe digitalizing physical asset is going to be a trend. We saw some projects which digitalize artwork, and they fractionalize artwork. They hold the artwork for, let's say, 5 to 10 years and sell it and put the sales proceeds to all the NFT holders. And we also saw some real estate transaction using NFTs. So the person who owns the NFTs get the physical real estate in the in the United States. So I believe this is a trend, but it takes some time to get around all the regulations and blockchain law. And we believe in the coming 2 years or one or 2 years, more projects are coming out, and the regulations will gradually catch up.
Cool, great. How about yourself, Ian? I mean, as far as RNC is concerned, or regulatory compliance, I would imagine that you're coming from private banking and financial institution, and then all of a sudden you've got this NFT marketplace and all these different activities. How was your your RNC journey in that situation?
I think it's a tough question. Obviously, we do not do STOs, which are backed by assets. So I see this as commodity right now. And because we are part of the banking system in offshore world, so in a way, we are doing this through Bank of Asia, which is licensed in the BVI. But right now, as I understand, virtual assets, of course, are not illegal in Hong Kong. We treat it as commodity, and we strictly do not fractionalize our projects. So I think in this sense, we are okay for now, BOAX. But going forward, it's actually interesting that you mentioned the regulatory landscape. We're thinking of exploring the Chinese market. And as we all know, of course, cryptos are banned in China. But with our new partner, BSN, we're thinking they are the only really Chinese government, shall I say endorsed, probably not endorsed chain, because China Mobile and a lot of Red Date funds are in there in the consortium. We're thinking of using that chain to promote Chinese NFTs. And they do not call that NFTs in China. They call it, as I understood, it's like the digital, distributed digital certificates, DDC. So we're thinking of doing that, and of course, strictly in accordance with Chinese laws. But I think that's interesting because it really opens up huge opportunities in China. And as I understand, the Chinese DDC market is about collecting.
Are you there, Ian? Hey, Ian? Am I the only one that lost him? Or?
Of how to link that up. We're discussing now as we speak to see how we can explore into this huge market, but strictly in accordance with Chinese laws.
Cool, great. How about yourself, Nick? As far as RNC is concerned, I mean, have you faced quite a bit inside of the NFT space or fractional ownership or these different issues inside of there?
Yeah, so I mean, I have to echo kind of what Ian said. I mean, a lot of what we do right now, we do what is required of us to get legal opinions just to make sure we're okay, but we of course don't step into any dangerous territories of doing any security looking like NFTs or even fractionalization. I think what also we're doing is incredibly amazing technically wise, but I think regulation does have some time to kind of catch up. I think there's a lot of use cases for fractionalizing as well, but I think definitely right now there's sort of I want to say like a stigma with NFTs that's very much on the, kind of like that speculator investing kind of a messaging. But I think hopefully I speak on behalf of Ian and Oscar as builders. I think we definitely look at NFTs much more as a technical component than it is like an investment vehicle. So I think when we talk about NFT marketplaces, I see us being way more similar to Carousel or Facebook Marketplace than we are to, say, Binance or FTX. So it's in that sort of a framework. It's beyond kind of like I think it's beyond a result. It has there's no doubt that we are way more similar to just like consumer trading, like back and forth, much like Asia Expat or eBay or anything like that. So I do think from our side as a builder that it's much more reasonable to operate in that kind of mindset than sort of always looking over our shoulder all the time, whether we're doing the right things or not. Because I think when the regulations do catch up, that I do think we are doing the right things. And this is sort of like a stepping stone to something that is much, much greater.
Right, awesome, cool. So I guess as far as platforms are concerned, I mean, differentiation, there's a lot of different marketplaces, NFT marketplaces out there. How is it any different? Maybe Nick, if you can kick it off.
Yeah, so I think like all of us knows there's tons of NFT marketplaces popping up here and there. So I think it definitely takes a little bit more to kind of separate yourself from the crowd. So at least from the Refinable side, we definitely do want to create or do well by the Web3 community, which is really helping people to onboard onto this kind of ecosystem. And so for us, even though we started as an NFT marketplace, like I mentioned before, we're really using the technology that we have built so far to kind of decentralize it and make it open for everyone to use. So like I just kind of mentioned, we offer sort of marketplace as a service right now so that anyone can go in and create their own storefronts or their own marketplace as they see fit. Very similar to kind of like what Shopify has done. I think if you look at Web 2 and Web 3, kind of people started out as Amazon as the central point of shopping, and then you kind of have Shopify that kind of decentralize it out. And now you kind of have Web 3 coming along. OpenSea definitely takes the cake for, as the granddaddy Amazon component. Whereas I think right now there's a lot of potential in sort of living up to the decentralization name in terms of what that actually looks like for trading, for businesses, for people that are looking to make a buck in the Web3 space. So we're definitely looking to move into more of a B2B to C toolkit, sort of supporting different entrepreneurs and businesses kind of section. So I do think that is sort of where we are separating ourselves a little bit more from the crowd.
How about yourself, Ian, as far as differentiation versus other NFT marketplaces?
Sure. We are a curated platform backed by Bank of Asia, so we do have some clientele to begin with.
What? Are you there? Ian, are you there?
He'll come back.
Okay.
So we try to bridge this traditional with Web3 and Metaspace to bring these traditional but large corporates with their, especially with say ATV with this more than 60 years of IP and content. We are building 8 metaverses for them. Some Hong Kong people will be familiar with 今日睇真啲, for instance. We're building a 今日睇真啲 metaverse for those who are nostalgic about that era of Hong Kong. And of course, we also have developed the virtual gallery, and we call it BOAX Metaverse capabilities, so that all these NFTs that we've minted, we can put in the Metaverse with design elements that match the corporate design or the artistic direction of corporate. And when you click that, of course, it links back to our NFT marketplace. So we see all these corporates or conglomerates or businesses as our clients who I want to serve. To really put them on the map and in Web3 space. I think that's what it is. And also, I think one of the things that we're trying to do, as I mentioned, is really going with the Chinese market. I suppose it's quite a brave move because in China, cryptos are explicitly banned, but not the DDCs that I mentioned. So with this partner that we've come to an agreement with, we are really thinking of exploring this space since we do have a lot of resources in this area with Huamei, as I mentioned. Behind them is, I cannot disclose the name of shareholder, of course, but they are the creators of many 90s and 20s movies that everybody would know in China and Hong Kong. And they're really thinking of bringing all this material to Metaverse and to do NFTs. And we're also building different communities using traditional and of course the more Web3 ways to help corporates. So I think we're really a one-stop platform for corporates to create their own digital assets, to create their own NFTs. And we also help them market through our BOA ecosystem. So I think that about sums it up. Yeah.
Cool. So Oscar, I've seen a bunch of different, for some reason, there's a huge interest inside of horses these days, and there's a lot of different projects floating around, not just as far as sort of like the digital side, but also in times of GameFi, right? So, how are you sort of differentiating your platform against some of the other competitors inside of the space?
I think the core difference between our platform and other GameFi platforms, which are very famous, for example, Run, the Race Horse, Oli Sport, a bunch of horse racing GameFi. What is different is our core business. I'd say our platform is actually an exchange platform that provides the horse horse ownership trading between the potential buyers and the potential sellers, and we take a portion of shares or also a kind of commission from each trading. And I believe that from these virtual horse racing websites or their white papers, they actually have some future goals and related to linking to the physical side, physical asset of the horse. So I believe that everyone in the horse industry is actually trying to tackle the problem of actually linking the horse, because this poses a very high barrier to our project. This is the everyone wants to solve this problem. If this problem is solved with the regulations, I believe the market will be very, very huge. Currently, compared with some, for example, Web2 websites, which allows syndication in different areas. We also look at some horse farms that actually tokenize their horse for sale. So our edge over here is actually we have partners from both Australia and the United Kingdom. They contain horse trainers, stables, and horse farms. So for a platform to actually build up, I believe trading volume actually matters quite a lot in our business model. So getting more partnership, able to partner with some, for example, some big horse farms, and able to have some blue chip breeds, some very good breeds on our platform would have an edge on our platform. And yeah, so I believe we are working on more partnership in different areas and also establish connections.
Cool, great, thanks. What's sort of, I mean, when you're looking at the NFT marketplace, I think we look at some of the international statistics. NFTs in some ways are kind of taking a little bit of a dip. I think overall the crypto market has come down a bit. What's your view in terms of the future marketplace as far as NFTs are concerned and sort of the future development? Maybe Nick, you can kick it off.
Yeah, sure. So I think in my previous response, I kind of alluded to sort of the general bear market sentiment, but I do think this is generally a great time for, I guess, like entrepreneurs and builders to kind of focus on the actual product. So I do think previously we were in a tremendous kind of like a hype cycle, where I think there were a lot of speculators that were not really in it for the technological reasons or sort of the roadmap reasons, but much more for like financial gain, which is, I think it brings a lot of attention to the space, but I think it's a lot of unwanted attention or not the right sort of users. So I think right now, at least you kind of have this wild forest fire that kind of burned away all the shrubbery from before. And now what's left is you have a lot of, I guess, new room for growth. So I do think people that have stayed with the NFT or are still kind of like, you know, hodling or still believing and supporting other creators, and these are really the people that are trying to build an entirely new way of transacting online. So I do think this is sort of a great time for creators to kind of connect, for partnerships to kind of like fulfill, and for us to kind of focus on the more important things, which is kind of user growth for the platform and sort of general education. I think it's easy to kind of forget that there exists a world out there that is not familiar with blockchain. And we are definitely in a very small community over here. So I think in these down markets, it's really a good time for education and onboarding for these users to happen, whether it is on the business side or retail user side. At least for Refinable, we're much more focused on these two fronts to really understand what exactly NFTs can do. And it's why it is more than just a JPEG on the internet. So I think this is really a good time to kind of reprioritize our company focus and sort of reallocate resources to really see, you know, where we want to prepare ourselves for the next cycle.
All right, cool. How about Ian, yourself, as far as the markets are concerned? I think you're on mute, maybe.
Yeah, I think it has always been on the minds of our BOAX team how to solve like certain challenges regarding the off-ramp and off-ramp, because ultimately we're part of an ecosystem of Bank of Asia. So we're trying to make the user experience of buying NFTs and then selling NFTs a little bit easier. So we are partners with Circle, and we're also thinking of how to make things easier, but combine with KYC and AML. This is first and foremost, I think, the biggest issue that we have in mind. And we're exploring with different lawyers, and also we understand there's a NFT Ethereum name service, so thing that identifies and tracks domain ownerships. We're trying to make it more compliant yet more user-friendly for buyers. For by way of example, we are doing this project for Azhao, as I said. A lot of this audience, they're over 50. They want NFT. They think it's so cool. I have this NFT, and with that, I can go into the Azhao, the Asia Friends circle, but they don't know how to buy it. This is a real issue, because it's all in the magazine. It's all in Azhao magazine now, saying that BOAX is helping them, and a lot of their readership come to us, come to Azhao wanting help to buy the NFTs. So I think we are trying to tackle that and think of different ways to streamline the process. One way is, of course, through the support of Bank of Asia and Circle, so that people can pay by fiat, pay by credit card, instead of just limiting all this to the crypto space, because there, of course, it's growing, of course, but many more people aren't in the crypto space at all. Loads of people have heard about NFTs, but they don't know how to buy it, and definitely do not mention how to put them into a custodian wallet. They have absolutely no idea. And
He will come back.
We lost you, Ian. Are you there?
Hello. Nick, I think there was an internet problem.
Yeah, there was a little,
a little unstable today, but yeah.
Okay, cool. How about Oscar? I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think Nick actually said the word. So the time right now is actually a really good chance for us to build. So many people actually relates the recent bear market of crypto. It's like a .com bubble, they say. But the thing about .com bubble, like because of .com bubble, there is Amazon, there is Google, there is a lot of big tech companies coming up, because the coming 10 years, I personally believe is the mass adoption of NFT technology. So there are many projects right now just to trying to bet on the price appreciation, but more than that is the NFT technology behind that could make the whole industry sustainable. So I believe like what Ian said as well, many people actually don't really know how to buy an NFT, not talking about creating a wallet or how to mint a token, for example. So I believe the coming 10 years would be a very good educational phase and mass adoption phase of using this technology to simplify different processes within different industry. And right now it's quite kind of like NFT is kind of limited to art or music, digital asset. But in the coming years, there might be more NFT technology adoption in different areas. Not talking about horse ownership, maybe in ownership of items, just to become a proof of ownership of your real estate, for example, not for trading, but a proof. And I believe, I think it is a very good chance for us to take in this opportunity to continue to build the growth. And also regulations will continue to catch up eventually, and a true ecosystem will gradually develop.
Cool, thanks. Julia.
Yeah, I was going to say, we got a question from the audience from Mateo. I'll read it. How is the regulatory environment in Hong Kong, and perhaps more broadly in Southeast Asia, supporting NFT and blockchain startups, creators or otherwise? So for example, in the US, there seems to be a definite push back in parallel with the overall market downturn across all types of digital assets. So I was interested in your take on this and your view of the regulatory environment. Oh, who wants to take this one first? Well, maybe I'll go to Ian first. I guess you have to deal, I think, a lot more on the reg side to your corporate client.
Yeah, I think, as I said, we are trying to avoid STOs at all costs, but NFTs, I think right now, as a commodity and as a bridge between the traditional and the metaverse, or just for IPs to be liquidated through NFTs. I think right now we are still in safe domain, but of course this is subject to the regulators' latest updates, and we don't have the crystal ball, so it's really hard to say. But with our experience dealing with Chinese investors, and of course, as I mentioned, our plans to also explore the Chinese DDC market, I think we are very concerned and very, I think in that sense, we try to be as safe as possible. As I said, I think no one has this crystal ball, so it's difficult to say how things will pan out. But right now, as I think commodities are okay, we still try to serve these corporates to bring them into Metaverse and see how things unfold in terms of the legal space. And we tweak, or maybe it's, if there needs to be certain authentication, for instance, or stronger KYC AML requirements, then we incorporate those into the NFT procedure, or the off-ramping, on-ramping procedures. I mean, ultimately, I think the biggest concern, of course, is AML and money laundering, right, through NFTs. So I suppose if the data travel rule, for instance, or knowing who actually goes into the blockchain in first instance for registered users, and also the wallets have to be can be tracked, and different chain analysis, different tech like that. I think that will ease the concerns of regulators, and from our side, I think we will be very supportive of that, and work step by step and hand in hand with the regulators.
Yeah, I guess I don't know, Oscar or Nick, if you got anything to add to that one.
Yeah, actually, I had kind of a bit of an insight over here as well, because for this project to start, our team actually contacted kind of a lot of we had a lot of legal consultation around different regions around the world, and we found out that the major point, the key point over here is most countries are working on a very all-rounded KYC system in order to make the projects having credibility in different projects. And we believe, for example, our project, European laws, blockchain laws have a very all-rounded, or that they define the rules very clearly. So we believe starting the project over there with a KYC system, it would be definitely healthy for all projects.
I guess I can also just add on very lightly that I would think Hong Kong is a little bit more forward-thinking with their regulations. I think SFC just released a memo on non-fungible tokens, I think just yesterday, in which they were reminding people of their stance, which I think they've been pretty clear on, is mostly just protecting general investors. But I do think, with the sudden bear market and bull market, that people are looking at NFTs in one framework, which is basically this, PFP launchpad sort of model. But I do think there are many, many other ways of looking at NFTs as well. And I think the most similar way of thinking about NFTs is just a digital barcode. How do you regulate a barcode? So I think it's really just thinking about NFTs in a different way. I think hopefully China adopts a very similar model. But it does seem like China, I think them allowing sort of primary sales with the DDC, that perhaps this is a good way for us to introduce more retail-based applications. So I do think, even though regulations are not entirely clear on this subject, that if we are bringing benefit to the retail consumers, that I think we should be okay.
All right, cool, great, thanks a lot. As far as looking at sort of the strategy for growth for each one of the platforms, understanding that it's a bear market right now, but then what are you guys trying to line up in the next 6 to 12 months, kind of riding through this whole downturn, if you will? Is, how do you build fantastic products and have great propositions? Maybe Ian, you want to start?
Sure. We're exploring, as I mentioned, Huamei, which is a Chinese entertainment company. We want more such partnerships. We're exploring them, and more international artists, especially from Japan and Europe. We're actually in the course of talking to one of them.
Whoops. Lost. Okay. I think, Nick, you know the answer for this one. We'll wait. We'll wait. He's coming back. Is Ian coming back?
Which I still, find it very, very, very deep in heart. We want to explore and bridge these traditional Chinese art with Web3. So one of the projects that we are doing right now is related to Fengshui. Fengshui, as some may know, is Chinese metaphysics, and has all these interesting elements like the 5 elements, like the yin yang. We're trying to do GameFi with them. We're actually developing something like that with our Chinese partners. And to win this game, you have to understand the rules of Chinese feng shui and metaphysics, which is not made up. It has a very intricate and elaborate, sophisticated system that needs to be understood before you can play it well, for instance. It will have play to earn capabilities, etc. But what's most interesting is you must have the correct and accurate knowledge of Chinese feng shui to be able to take part in that. And we're also hoping to build bigger metaverses. We do have galleries, but I want a bigger scale. As I mentioned, the tech.
Whoops. Ian, are you there?
He always comes back.
Right now, people can go in, which I'll share the link later. People go in as avatars, walk around in this metaverse and talk to each other, like you would, in Zoom. And we also have spatial sound technology. So when the avatars are close to each other, it's like we are talking, next to each other. When you move a little bit further away from each other, the sound is sort of less loud. So it gives this sort of spatial sense. And there's also a Zoom capability within our metaverse. So if we invite, say, speakers or keynote speakers, whatever, you can actually have Zoom inside the metaverse. And we're hoping to enhance that furthermore for sort of more realistic and immersive experience. So I think for the roadmap wise for the next half a year, that'll be what we're trying to achieve.
Right. How about yourself, Oscar? What's on the roadmap for the next 6 to 12?
For example, 6 months to 12 months. First of all, we developed into several phases for our project to launch. Our growth strategy is actually digitalizing horse into NFTs first. So what we are trying to do is to create a digital twin that is not exactly packed with the physical horse first. What we're trying to do is to have these horses as a digital form, which is very important to get exposures to different markets. And then we are working on digitalizing our horse farms, partners horse, which we are doing around 20 to 30 horses as a trial. And we grant the horse farms owners grant the ownership syndicate share to the NFT owners, except the income rights and also the winning rights, which might trigger the financial instruments law. So I guess in the coming 6 or 12 months, we'll work on this and also to get more partnership with different horse farms. As I said before, if we are able to partner with some reputable horse farms with very good breeds, this will create attention from the whole industry. So I believe we are working on that. And also we are launching our platform around Q4 this year, and we are looking forward and are excited to it.
Cool. How about yourself, Nick, as far as the next 6 to 12?
Yeah, so I think the next 6 to 12 months is really just focusing on building. So in terms of what we're building, it's really expanding on our B2B toolkit. So we have a product very similar to Shopify that allows anyone to kind of go in and create your own marketplace. We have a couple of extra features that allows people to have a much more express sort of checkout procedure, maybe a little bit on the fiat on-ramp as well. So there's a couple of these big features are very in line with sort of creating these different tools to let anyone be able to sort of set up this whole Web3 ecosystem or Web3 initiatives that they want. So I think a lot of brands right now they look at NFT, they see the hype cycle, they see it kind of die down, but I do think a lot of them are intrigued with how digital communities can be created. So I think a lot of the soft work that has to be done is really with education and with the marketing of these different tools that we can do. So that with this education, it comes with realization that it can actually happen. And then they will hopefully go into sort of our ecosystem to, make Web3 better for everyone. So I think a lot of the work is a combination of the hard stuff and the technical stuff that we have to do, combined with some of the soft skill and soft approaches that we have to work with to get the entire community more on board and to see more transactions happening in the Web3 space, which I think is super, super exciting.
Cool, very cool. So yeah, if I don't know if anybody has any additional questions from the audience, we do have a special treat. Maybe I'll hand it over to Julie to kind of kick it off. So
this is going to turn into a little bit of, it's going to be a first come, first serve, isn't it? Right. So Ian is kindly set up. We can enter BOAX Metaverse, but I'm not sure we can invite everybody that's on the call. I don't know, Ian. I mean, I'm kind of looking at the numbers. We probably have 24. Sure. What do you think? I think
24 works. I think it should be okay. We have two right here. One is one we did for the International Women's Day with FTAHK Family Office from Taiwan. The other one is from Fashion Design Week. Feel free to go into any of those. I think if it's 20 something, it'll be okay. I mean, but any above, say 40, definitely that'll be a problem. So should we just try? If we run into problems, then I'll just share screen and walk around, on my own and while showcasing the platform. What do you think, Julie and Neil?
Sure. So we just click on either one.
Should we try the first one first?
So everybody goes into the first one, or
yeah, okay, we can do that. Okay. That's a smaller one that we did just I think last week for Fashion Design Week.
So it's 20. Okay, so
you see the screen.
So basically, thanks a lot for the panel, for coming in and speaking about each one of your platforms, sharing your business models. If you're interested to stick around, I think there's two different links. If we're going to go for BOAX Meta, which is the one that I think everyone will pile in. If there's any technical issues, I think we have a tour guide, or do we have somebody inside that's that we'll walk with? Or
I think I'll be the tour guide.
Okay, so we got Ian he'll take us through the metaverse.
Sure. I think it's just a matter of seeing this in sort of virtual galleries setting. This is the fashion. I think the first link is the fashion meta for the juxtapose. I don't claim to be a fashion or art expert, so this one I can't really say much. It's for people to see. I think for the tech capability. But for the second one, I'm much more familiar because most of them are arts created by BOAX. So I think after a quick look inside the fashion meta one, we can go to the second one. It's a much bigger one with various sort of range of art. I'm very happy to bring everybody, for a short tour.
Okay, so we'll go into the first one, BOAX Meta, and then you'll let us know when to transition over to the second one. Then, yeah?
Sure.
Cool.
I think for the first one, it's more interesting because they are 3D. The sort of design, the fashion design is made to 3D and it spins. So that's one of the new sort of tech developments that we've done.
Great.
The older one, but larger one, which is can be linked by the second link. We don't have the 3D tech.
Okay, but we're able to stay on the Zoom at the same time, or are we?
I think so. I think I see a lot of people inside the room now.
Okay.
Not a lot, but there are 8 right now.
Okay, cool.
So I suppose we can go to the second one now.
The second one.
Yeah, I'm entering to the second one. So if people are interested, please come into the second, the bigger, we call it BOAX VIP room. It takes a little bit longer to load because there are, I think, about 35 NFTs altogether.
Oh, because it actually has to load all the items inside of the room, right?
They do, but we try to streamline the process. Inside they're very small JPEGs. So now it's much faster. I'm in. I don't know if anybody else. I'm seeing 8 people here.
Okay. Okay, so let me get out.
And when you see an NFT that you like, say, perhaps Neil, perhaps I should share the screen. So I think the screens will be more sort of uniform. Do you mind if I share the screen?
Yeah, that'd be good.
That way everybody can see the same screen and I can walk along. So
Sure.
I'll have to mute this.
Mm-hmm.
Such a cool space. I love it.
Yeah, it looks cool.
I guess, Neil, you have to step in as the tour guide to give the voiceover.
I gotta click on to. Hang on for a second. Let me see where this went.
This is very cool.
All right, it's loading. And Samuel is there. Join the room. Accept. Enter room. Uh-huh. Here was Joseph. Um,
He is, but I think he's a
oh, I see what's going on here. Who's inside of room number 2? Are you in there, Nick?
Oh, I just left, but yeah,
Okay.
I wanted to give space to someone else.
yeah, I just entered.
I guess we can bring back Ian.
Hey, Ian, are you there?
I think you. I'm not sure.
Some of the animated ones are quite nice. There's a couple of Fengshui looking ones with animation.
Yeah, this is the banknotes. I don't know if everybody can see. Oh, I think just a second. So I think some people are actually walking inside, and while I'm also inside, I'm doing the Zoom screen sharing. So I hope it's okay. I hope you see what I'm seeing on the screen. Right here is the banknotes NFT. We call it travel time. So you go back to what the Chinese banknotes are, depicted. Here you have the. Let's have a look. I think there's a maximum sort of capacity issue. It's supposed to be a dragon that's flying in the sky, and I think people actually go in can see it, but from here with a Zoom sharing, I can't do it. So feel free to have a look later. So this is our largest virtual gallery right now. Different artists, and you see, here's a Fengshui one. I don't know if you guys see it right here. Zhao Fanyu. He's one of the more hip, sort of younger, we call it, I don't know how to call it, Fengshui master in Hong Kong right now, with lots of followers. And he approached me, and we were talking how to bring 传统风水, traditional feng shui, into NFT space. This is really a unique part of Chinese culture. I think not cannot be found anywhere else. So we're doing that. Again, if you buy, it's on our platform. And the dragon, this is done with the Malaysian Fengshui master as well. All these were displayed in a physical exhibition last month in Central Market last year. Last month. So we are trying to bring NFT to physical space too.
Right.
So everybody can hear me? I think. Okay, I'm getting a very loud echo, so I'll just stop.
That was awesome.
So that ends our little showcase and a trip. Hope you guys liked it.
Yeah, that was very cool. I mean, I made it into actually both rooms and kind of took a spin around. Very cool, very interesting, and a lot of interesting artwork. So really appreciate it.
Thank you.
So yeah, so thanks everybody. Thanks to the panelists, Ian, Oscar, also Nick, for sharing their experiences and also their journeys. Really insightful inside of the context of where these business models will take us. Hopefully the audience has taken away some of the key learnings that you guys have shared. And hopefully there's some partnership opportunities between yourselves and some of the participants, and showcasing NFT artwork and all the different business models inside of there. So really appreciate it. I'll hand it back to Julie and see where we go from there.
Not much else to add. I think thanks very much to the panelists. That was really insightful. And thanks for the participants as well for staying behind and enjoying the metaverse there. So hopefully, please do join us again. We'll be running another one in July. So please look out for some more events on Eventbrite. So thanks, Oscar. Thanks, Ian. Thanks, Nick.
Thanks.
Thanks, Neil.
Thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.